midweek update from our new streaming studios. You'll notice the Missouri Times streaming studios. Innovation we've kind of brought to you, something we think will be really neat and fun. At some point, Kelton, my man, is going to we'll have a guest here. We'll have people that can join in with us. It'll be great. You're going to love it. For a minute, it'll take just a second to get some of the kinks out. Um, let's go through the questions I got. First of all, Ken, my man from the lake, appreciate it. He gave me two of these, so you'll see the next one next week. It talks about the media campaigns from 2004. A lot of Gussie Bush stuff in here. Awesome stuff. Thank you, Ken. We'll start a knowledge tip to get us started. Let's talk about some stuff. State Senate, how's it shaking out? I would tell you right now, of the appearances I've had on the show, Cindy O'Loughlin was one of the best appearances I've had by someone. She's been on before, but to come on as leader of the Senate, here's the thing: I don't think she had a bunch of media training. Maybe she has. I just don't know about it. It's just very natural. Like I think she actually was saying what she meant, and I thought it went off very well. I was very impressed by her on the show, and I've interviewed everybody in Missouri politics, and I thought she did very well. Now, what she said was what we'll see. I mean, on the one hand, you have folks that I'll just give you my rundown of how I think she won. It's a conservative caucus folks that were like, look, anybody but the guy Caleb wants, we're probably going to be for. I think Andrew Koenig had an absolute shot to get 12 votes, maybe 13, but she had a better shot to get more, and she did. I think if Andrew would have run, he might have beat her on the first ballot. And it showed it showed what she's going to need to be a good floor leader in how she was able to maneuver through Andrew not running and her running. That's the kind of political talent it takes in the Senate. Once she got in a one-on-one, I think there were some people who were going to vote for her on the first ballot to kind of stay out of the Andrew Bernskoetter fight, and they liked her. And some folks were going to vote for her on the first ballot, even against Candy, because they were true supporters. Other folks, true supporters, but I think they also kind of like not having to pick between the two. Then on the second ballot, I think if it had been Candy Bernskoetter probably wins. However, when it was just one-on-one, first ballot, you took her first ballot votes, her supporters. Then I think it came down to this. I think the conservative caucus folks that were going to vote for Candy hyped in and voted for her a little bit out of spite, a little bit out of that was the person of the two that was there they liked. They liked the best. Then I think what tipped the race, though, is that there's some folks in that caucus that believe that Senator O'Loughlin might come harder and stick up a little more aggressively to the conservative caucus, frankly. That's just the truth. I think that some folks think she might be one that pushes back on their behalf more than they have had in the last 4 years. Now, it's just my white trash take on it. Here's the thing. You heard me say this many times. Looking back, you should go to showmissouri.com. My interview with Dave Schatz about his whole career. I love talking to Dave Schatz. I'm going to talk to Dave Schatz for 2 more hours. I asked him, should you have pushed back harder? In hindsight, I think, yeah, probably he should have initially been more aggressive. However, to pretend that if you're more aggressive with Bill Eigel, that means he's going to fall in line and do what you want, that's not real. Come on, man. As Joe Biden would say, come on, man. Just because you do that doesn't mean that you're going to be that's just going to work out and everything's going to be hunky dory, because that's not real life. That's not how things will work. But all that aside, I do believe that I think that she's going to come in. The thing you're going to see from some of the who voted for her that are worried about. Senator Loveland has a reputation for wanting to be done early. Now, what I like, she said, is they're going to start on time. There's no reason not to start on time. I've never understood that. They're grown men, grown women. You say you're going to start at 4, right? Really, there's no reason not to. But that's kind of her prerogative. Now, the thing her even supporters are concerned that are going to be watching for is the first time a bill gets jammed up, is she going to want to PQ something? That's going to be a serious thing that she's going to have to. The only way she's going to live that down is by not doing that. I think the PQ is always a terrible thing. I think everyone I can remember always leads to bad stuff. Don't say gay bill, Kim Gardner, right to work blew up. Just go down through the list of PQs and go down through the list of things that really. The only one I've ever seen that I thought, yeah, you got to do that is when in veto session, Senator Justice said her deal didn't stick for a veto session, put Senator Dempsey in a terrible spot. But I actually thought that was pretty justified. The rest of them just blow up. So how she does things and what she does. Um, the thing is, when when you're the last one to win a Senate leadership race, all eyes are on you. So all eyes are going to be on her and how she handles herself. And it is the hardest job in state government. It is so hard to make the trains run on time and take care of the members and take care of the minority. It is not an it is the toughest job in politics, and I think everybody's excited to see how she does. Because one thing about Cindy O'Loughlin, she ain't gonna be boring. It's gonna be interesting. And I'll and it just and I'm not a big believer in pimping out. I mean, I'll tell you about stuff, but I actually want to encourage you to go watch the interview with Cindy O'Loughlin. I really you just when you interview somebody, you feel like they're giving you lines or whatever they've said before. I felt like it was pretty genuine, and I thought she came across very well. Now, we'll like every plan, we'll see how that works once she meets fire and pushback, which in the Senate is supposed to come. And here's the other thing about the thing I've said this before. The Senate's supposed to be contentious. It's supposed to be hard to get a bill through the Senate. It's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be very hard to change Missouri law. That's the way it's supposed to be. It's just and you run into everyone, and this is the problem for Nick Shore, for Mary Elizabeth Cohn, maybe not quite as much, not really for Curtis Trent, but you come in there and you believe your bill is important. You work so hard. You get it through the drafted and then through the committee and on the floor, or maybe even through the House. It gets over. You've done all this work. There are people that travel the Capitol that believe in what you're doing, and it's so hard to remember that whatever your bill is, it's not bigger than the Senate. It is so hard to remember, and very intelligent, good men and women have had a hard time remembering that. It'll be interesting to see how they deal with how that dynamic fits with Senator O'Loughlin, because I do think J.J. Rizzo is one of the great statesmen of this century so far for Missouri. I don't think a PQ is going to come at his doing. So there'll be a lot of eyes on who he passes the torch to when he leaves the Senate. Let's talk about the freshman tour. Okay, I'll be honest with you. I think the freshman tour is a great thing. I think it's a great way. There's two ways to learn the state of Missouri. You learn a lot about this state on the freshman house tour, and being on the House Budget Committee, you actually do learn everything about state government. Somebody tells you they know state government. If they were on the House Budget Committee, they actually do, because they sit in that room and go through every line. The Senate Appropriations Committee, I'm not going to say they don't read every line, but it's not exactly the same. The House has a very unique function in that House Budget Committee. It's a very big deal, and they take it very seriously, line by line. You learn it all. The freshman tour, though, this freshman tour, it might be the worst. All they're doing is going to the cities. These poor people have signed up for this tour, and they're only getting to see like the places where all the crime is. They're not even getting to see. I mean, they don't get to see Johnson shut-ins. They don't get to see West Butler County. They don't get to see Silver Dollar City. They don't go up and see Scotland County at Gary Wiggins Family's Museum. You hate that for them. I tell you what, I'd have been pissed off if I saw that tour list and I came all the way, to Central Missouri to get on a bus for a week, and I'm only going to St. Louis and Kansas City. I think we'd have what we call back home the red ass. I mean, seriously, and I mean this to Speaker Designee Plucker. Cameron Bunting Parker, what's about as good as we can do in the boot heel? They don't take her to some ghetto and get her shot, because we don't have a backup that's as good as her. So, like, seriously, that freshman tour, go look at some fields. Get some places where I would say where they don't murder people, but I mean, seriously, on the same block, the defunding the police to fund the meter maid scam has resulted in 2 people dead. But anyhow, while we're on the subject, sad day, Danny Mac, the voice of the Cardinals. I would just urge you. I know many people love to jump to conclusions. Let's just see the facts. Someone, I think Andy Arnold sent me a tweet. If this was a Cubs announcer, you wouldn't feel that. No, I wouldn't feel that way. I would feel like they should be gassed before sunset. But it is Dan McLaughlin. He's earned the right to let's see what this case looks like. Let's just look at it. Just because some local city police department, now if it was a St. Louis County cop, well, this would have been handled probably far better. But it was a Creve Coeur city. I think we got to see what happens here. Let's not jump to conclusions. Let's not let some D-level. What do they call Kelton? What do they call Fox Sports now? Bally's, yeah, whatever. Some D-level executive at some fly-by-night company bring another Wayne Hagan in, right, Jack? Right, Jack? See, that's the problem. They tried to do this before. I got this cool thing here. You gotta realize. Here we go. I gotta turn it off. There we go. That's calling the Lou Brock breaking the stolen base record. That's legit knickknacks right there. Speaking of legit, Courtyard by Marriott. If you're on the freshman tour and you're touring some ghetto somewhere in the city, you're dodging bullets and panhandlers and carjackers. Just think, when you bring your family to Jeff City in a few weeks for the big legislative ball, which is a wonderful night, put them up at the Courtyard by Marriott. And you're gonna have to book that now. Don't send them to some D-level hotel. Don't go when you could be going to Shepherd of the Hills, or you could be going to one of Missouri's beautiful state parks, which is sort of the equivalent of the Courtyard by Marriott. Don't go tour some murder scene in one of the cities. That would be sort of like staying at another hotel. You want to stay at a quality hotel because trust me, if you're new to this, if someone says, "Oh, meet me in my hotel," and you're like the Capitol Plaza, it's like, "Oh, wow, obviously not an A player, D player." Here's a pro tip: if you can't afford the Courtyard, or you don't know Randolph how to get a hold of him to get like the legit, I mean, they cost, but good stuff costs money, duh. Then go to the Courtyard and buy breakfast and pretend you're staying there, so you look like you're an A player. Uh, People will kind of know, but it's way better than saying, "Oh, meet me at the DoubleTree." It's like, wow, JV, holy crap. Um, so Courtyard by Marriott, go click on right now. You want to reserve? You got to reserve those rooms quick because they go. There is, I mean, clearly there is an A level, there's a B level. Tell you, there's a distinct A level in Jeff City, and it's Courtyard by Marriott. Couple congratulations. Garrett Hawkins, reelected Farm Bureau president, the president of rural Missouri. Doesn't matter who's in the White House. Garrett Hawkins is my president. Farm Bureau, the most influential group in the state, proves that again and again and again. What a great turnout of folks that go down the lake for the conference. Great group of real Missouri folks. It astonishes me how many folks, even Republicans now, hell, Kelton, even Republicans, they sure enjoy eating lunch. They want to vote against ag in the afternoon, but by God, they're ready for supper. If you enjoy breakfast, lunch, or dinner, think of farmer. Think of Farm Bureau member. And if you like having a decent state that's not a clogged up suburban hellhole, thank Garrett Hawkins. Blair Oaks, oh my God, you want to talk about schools? Oh my. Blair Oaks, undefeated. I'm not going to say Kelton's team in Southern Boone got their ass kicked, but the scoreboard actually said they got their ass kicked. Shout out to Stephanie Bell, put her kids in the JV school there in Ashland. Look, I mean, Kelton, your parents did something terrible to you, but you, for your children, can get to Wardsville and go to Titletown. Maybe you could win. New superintendent, their big responsibility taking over. I got to say, Mark Harvey, great job. Comes in 1 year, wins one title. What do you say? If I'm Mark Harvey, I'm like, mic drop, I'm out of this. The new guy I've heard is a great guy. He's a principal here at Jeff City, heading out to Titletown. He's joining Coach LePage's team. My advice would be, if Coach LePage wants it, probably build the dome, right? That's kind of the secret to that success. This week on the show, my buddy Ray Hartman is leaving his radio show. If you follow me on Twitter, Facebook, you see I adore Ray Hartman, the St. Louis legend. He is outstanding. I just couldn't think higher of him. He is a great guy, and he's leaving that show that he's done for a while. Ray's done everything in the media. He's owned stuff. He started the Riverfront Times. He started St. Louis Magazine. He's columnist forever, radio show. Did a radio show back in the day with like Jack Buck or Bob Costas or something awesome. And so, but Ray is a great guy, and I love whatever Ray does is going to be great. Watch the show this week. This week in Missouri Politics, Sunday mornings. We're going to have it's very lawyer centric. We'll have Eric Schmidt on, the senator elect. Our last show of the year, we always have on. We've had Eric Schmidt on our first show in December of 2014. And our last show of the year, every year since. Eric Schmidt has closed out the season of This Week in Missouri Politics. He will again. Then I'm going to do a show just for mid-Missouri with Wayne Wallingford about veterans. It's going to be really fun. And then we'll take a couple weeks off and ease into next year. We'll come back fired up, ready to go with some This Week in Missouri Politics episodes. So Eric Schmidt, the current Attorney General, Senator-elect, and then I don't know what you call Andrew Bailey. We had this debate in the office. Is he the Attorney General designee? Okay, you got the attorney general that's going to be the senator. That's decided. Now you got the guy that's going to take the job. Andrew Bailey's going to be on. So it'll be back to back, 2 interviews, no panel to close out the year. I think that's pretty decent show. Pulling the plow for you. Stein of knowledge. Remember, look, take my advice. Take my advice. If there's two things I know, it's hotels and beer. You want to be with the king in beer, Anheuser-Busch, and you want to be with the king in hotels and Jeff says Courtyard by Marriott. Watch us Sunday morning this week in Missouri Politics. Eric Schmidt, Andrew Bailey, and move back here. Tell me what you think. Send me a message of our new streaming studio, and somebody come and sit in this chair. We'll sit and bullshit and talk politics. Till then, we'll see you next week here on This Week in Missouri Politics.